Hole in a Box by C.S.R.
Chapter 21. Take my hand. I'm insane.
How sad.
Marla said as she touched the tears on her face.
What?
Kristen asked, still sounding irritated.
I'm not crying for me. I'm crying for you.
You've lost me, child.
You must be a really sad person,
I beg your pardon?
just like me.
Marla bowed her head, allowing her tears to fall to the floor. She started to think of all the pain that Kristen must have felt to be so heartless. Could it have been that his heart was broken, so now he was an empty void that could only be filled with gluttony? He had no regard for people or their feelings, but could that be because no one ever took the time to teach him how to? Because no one ever had regard for him or his feelings? Marla looked up at the man, her face drenched in more tears.
People are terrible. And it's not our fault. There will always be people who, for whatever reason, want to hurt us and bring us pain. And that is horrendous and shouldn't happen. It is wrong beyond reason, but it happens anyway.
I'm not sure what you're rambling about.
Kristen seemed to be getting flustered.
But we can't let them win. We shouldn't allow ourselves to become them. We have to be strong, because there will be people who care about us. Oh, my three, you've never had a friend, have you?
What does that have to do with anything?
The way he asked only told Marla that she was right.
For so long you've been helpless and alone. I understand. Well, maybe I can't because I haven't been alone for as long as you. But I could have become you.
Marla then gasped at her realization.
If you had asked me to work for you a month ago, I probably would have said yes. I would have been filled with enough hate to do it. And I wouldn't even know it was hate because no one showed me love. Just like you.
I don't understand. What's going on? Stop crying and answer my question and stop this foolish rambling.
We are too afraid to let people in. We fear what people will say or do to us because of that. But friends won't judge. I need to stop hiding, and you need to stop hurting. I'll be your friend.
Marla peacefully smiled.
I know you've hurt me, and those close to me, but I'll forgive you.
Marla ran down the ledge to the very end to meet Kristen.
Marla!
Javis yelled, trying to catch Marla and prevent her from leaving his side. When she got to the end, Marla extended her hand, saying,
Let's start over. My name is Marlenia Shadow Doe, and it is a pleasure to meet you. Would you like to be my friend?
The tears stopped flowing from her face, and she smiled at Kristen. Kristen observed her smile. It was very familiar to him. It was that of a person in pain who wanted to feel tender love and care instead of all the harshness it's been through. Yes, he knew this smile. He had this smile before. It hurt him to see this smile again, to remind him why he'd been so lost. He lifted his hand toward her.
No, Marla, get away from him.
Javis called out again. Ever so softly, Kristen placed one of his large fingertips into Marla's palm and said,
My name is Kristen Fames,
She gripped on and shook his hand.
and I want...
Marla could tell that Kristen struggled to find the words. She understood how painful it was, so she didn't push him to say. She just stood there, smiling at him a different smile, a sweet smile of serenity. Kristen made eye contact with her and gave the same smile. The pain that had plagued Javis had left his body, along with something else. Something that left the 5 Smerigs in the room that all had one thing in common. They all felt their freedom granted to them as their servitude left.
We're free.
Charla said as she felt herself become light.
We're free.
She jumped up from her ledge and glided down to Daryl.
Wink, we're free.
Daryl said nothing. He was in too much shock to say anything. He just started to smile and laugh as he splashed around in the water.
Really?
Fowler said with unease.
This doesn't feel right. I'm a tempter. I'm supposed to have something to tempt people to do. I feel as though I have no purpose now. What am I supposed to do?
Malcolm seemed to have an opposite reaction to his old partner. He seemed thankful and actually laughed about it too. It was like keeping a wild animal and shoving it in a cage, but now it was free again. Then there was Javis, who was most relieved of all. He hated being someone else's servant, but now that was over and his friend was safe. He could be his own person and cause his own mischief. He could go on an adventure with his friend, and there were no limits on how far he could go or what he could do. And this was all thanks to her. He felt so proud of Marla, the same way a father would be proud of his daughter. Javis stared over at the girl, who was still holding on to a claw of the giant monster before her. They looked so peaceful. It'd be a shame to disturb them. He looked down at Darlene, who sighed in relief. She stared back at him and gave him a nod, showing some sign of approval for what he did. But then she shot him a nasty look that said she still didn't forgive him. Javis shrugged it off and waited to see what would happen next.
Marla?
Kristen spoke gently.
Yes, Kristen?
I'm scared. What's gonna happen to me now? I'm gonna be in so much trouble for what I've done.
Marla gave a sad sigh. She knew he had to pay for all that he hurt. Being in pain gave him no right to do awful things and get away with it.
I guess you have to turn yourself in and help for retribution. I'm sorry. I can't help you with that.
And now I should be haunted by what I've done.
Is that my fault for making you realize?
No, it's mine. I did this to myself. I didn't want to give up that feeling, that pleasure that eating children gave me. But now, it all tastes like guilt and shame. I don't know if I could do it again.
Please don't. I know it might be a lot to ask, but please try not to eat anyone ever again.
And you want me to go to prison? I don't know which one's worse.
Sorry.
Kristen sighed.
You're gonna be a pain in my person, aren't you?
You're what?
Basically, you're gonna try and make me make up for what I did. But only so I can be redeemed. Fuckerstein.
Those were bad words, weren't they?
There's so much to learn about Tridesma.
How bad is jail?
Don't know. Never been. But it probably isn't as bad as human jail. If I'm good and I turn myself in, I could get out within several years of good behavior.
The two sat in silence for a while. Then, they parted their ways.